You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello and welcome to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. I've no idea what the day is. You nearly didn't get one of these today because I'm not really in the mood. But where I am, it's actually Tuesday morning, but where the majority of people listen to this, it's still Monday. So this is going to be Monday's podcast, even though I'm recording it at 6:20 a.m. where I am. But like I say, it will hit the airwaves on the right day, pretty much everywhere else. I suppose I wanted to talk about how I use inspiration, I suppose like every writer does, from their own life to inform characters. There's a particular reason I'm doing this today. I'm going to talk about Freddie from the English Hikikomori. So the character from that book is a young man who's struggling with depression and anxiety, and that was a reflection of myself in the past and to a degree at the present. I think he's had a horrible time. I mean, I sometimes worry that you can't justify how you feel when you got depression. So I wanted, when I created the character of Freddie in English Hikikomori, I wanted to give him a solid reason to be low that nobody could argue with. Nobody reading could go, oh, he just needs to get over himself. So in the book, he's had a difficult time, but then in chapter 1, his family all die in a car crash in which he's the only survivor. And that's quite extreme, but I really wanted the audience to, when they read it, to really feel for what he's going through, even if they don't get the stuff leading up to that, which is his sort of struggling with the real world and depression and anxiety. And absolutely elements of Freddie are based on my personal experiences. So I do suffer with depression. I swing from being okay to having really dark sort of times where I do not feel right. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suicidal, I never have been. And Freddie's character in the story is effectively working up to suicide. And I definitely used a lot of the negative thoughts I've had over the years to inform the creation of the character and I suppose what motivates him. But there are moments, so I'm having a particularly bad time with my mental health at the moment. I did promise not to keep going on about it, but it's to do with the loss of my friend recently. And I'm in China at the moment. Although she wasn't Chinese, she was Taiwanese. She was a Mandarin speaker, which means I'm surrounded by people that look a bit like her and certainly sound like her. And I'm really, really struggling with it. I was waiting for a friend at a shopping mall yesterday. And it's this huge place. I mean, like 3 stories high. There's balconies. It's about 3 stories high. Although actually it was the next floor. It's just a big, impressive sort of lobby area. And it was in a mall, and I was waiting outside a lovely coffee shop called Manor Coffee, not Manners, but Manor. Waiting for my friend, and I was just sort of watching people as I like doing, and I think any writer likes people watching because it always inspires them. And I saw someone who looked just like my friend, and it really bothered me. I had to look away because it wasn't only what she looked like, it was how she walked, the way she held herself, and it was it wasn't her, obviously, because she's gone, and she didn't look exactly like her or anything like that, but it was really uncanny, and it really freaked me out a little bit. So that's kind of tainted my... We basically get 3 full days in China, and a 4th we arrive in the morning. And the first 2 days were really good, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed, the company of some of my colleagues. And then the last 2 days, my brain has gone to a very, very dark place. And I just can't wait to get home now. So as I record this, it's about 2 hours before we get our alarm call, so it's about 3 hours before 3 hours before we're picked up, and then I think we take off another couple of hours after that, because it's a very long way from the hotel to the airport. There are two big airports in this city, and our airline moved to the one that's further away. I think basically, I don't know why. I'm not going to try and justify, but so I've got about 2 hours, just under 2 hours before my phone rings to tell me to get up and sort myself out. But no, I think, as I say, I'm really... Freddie was so much a distillation of the negative thoughts that go through my head. And it was very therapeutic to write that character. It really was. Even reading him back kind of makes me realise how far I've come and how much better I am than when I was really low. And I'm sure what's happening in my head at the moment is a temporary setback. I hope so, because, as I say, one of the things that I tend to stop doing is being creative. Now, I haven't done much writing since I've been in China. A couple of reasons for that. So, for the first couple of days, I was actually enjoying myself and getting out and about, and then the last couple of days, I've struggled to even think about it. But hopefully, I get home on Tuesday. Sorry, no, not hopefully I get home on Tuesday. I should get home on Tuesday, but hopefully I will do some writing on Wednesday. Do this paper sign off of chapter 27 that I've been talking about for a week. But yeah, so no, I think it's definitely a case that your characters are informed by who you are. I think Veronica in Empress of the Trees, which I'm currently writing, is a distillation of my concerns that the planet's screwed, and I don't think it's going to affect people in a massive scale in my lifetime, but I genuinely believe we're going to reach a point soon that there is more human life than we can feed, and coupled with the fact that it's getting warmer and warmer, there's going to be areas that we're currently using for agriculture that, as they get warmer and warmer, are not going to be able to be used for agriculture in the relatively near future. Again, probably not in my lifetime. So we're going to have this situation where there's spiralling human life and dwindling resources with which to keep them alive. And I do fear that, again, probably not in my lifetime, we're going to have an event where a lot of people are going to die because we can't feed them, because the planet's going to get to a point where there's not enough resources, particularly on the parts that have warmed up, to feed everybody, which is why it's, my book obviously is taking that to an illogical extreme. And I think Veronica is the person I would like to be in. By that, I don't mean in terms of gender, but I just mean in terms of someone who's brave enough to say, what she feels. I should turn, with all the things that are going through my head, I definitely should turn vegan, because I believe that is the way forward, but I'm not very good at actually doing it because I like my meat and dairy too much. And it's actually struck me that's quite interesting that Ronnie, as a character, isn't vegan and hasn't made that choice, despite the impact eating meat and dairy has had on the planet. So I'm now thinking maybe she should be vegan, and maybe that would be the logical next step for the character. And it's not a big rewrite. I mean, I haven't even finished the first draft yet. So, but it's weird because I've got a character in there that absolutely is vegan, but I've made a point of not making it Veronica, which is an interesting choice, and I'm not sure it's now the right one. Anyway, I'm just waffling now. Thank you for listening. I realise most people will actually catch this on Tuesday, even though it's Monday's podcast, because I did it so late. And I will endeavour to do another one on Tuesday. So, yay, you get 2 to listen today. Lucky you. So as this one's almost 10 minutes already, I will shut the F up. And, thank you for listening. Take care. Bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.